We've been talking about keeping an open mind, and today I want to give you a really cool example that I heard about keeping an open mind. I'm reading a book that's called Originals by an author named Adam Grant, and he tells the story of Martin Luther King and the "I Have a Dream" speech. And this to me illustrates the importance of always keeping an open mind for open ideas and not being so rigid in your plan. The story goes that Martin Luther King was working all night the night before on the speech that ended up being the "I Have a Dream" speech. And he was making changes and alterations to it, and as different thoughts came to his mind, as God placed different ideas on his mind, he made changes to it. And he went to the assembly that day with a specific speech written that he was going to read as he spoke. But true to his course, he usually didn't stay directly as the speech he had written, but he will take ideas and run with them as he goes. And so in the midst of the speech, the "I Have a Dream" speech, the actual text of the speech, there is no mention of "I have a dream," which is probably, if not the most famous speech in history, one of the most famous speeches in history. And it's because of that phrase, because of that lane that he went down, that "I have a dream." So it's not even in the text, but his mind was open and ready. And so as he's speaking, about 15 or so minutes into the speech, there's a person standing behind him on the stage who was a gospel singer. Her name was Mahalia Jackson. And Mahalia Jackson, in the midst of his speech, yells out, "Tell them about your dream, Martin." And after a few minutes go by, she says it again, "Tell them about your dream." And then all of a sudden, Martin Luther King starts in on "I have a dream." And the rest is history. Probably the most powerful segment of oration that we know. That small little segment of speech, and it wasn't even written there, but because his mind was open, because he was ready for anything that might come up, because he was listening and actively ready to learn, he heard this voice, and this idea came into his head, and he took it, and he went with it. And it changed the course of history. It changed the course of civil rights. It changed lives all over the world because he had an open mind at that moment in time. So that's the power of an open mind. Don't close your mind. Be open for ideas. Be open for God to speak to you, for God to speak through people to you. Do not be rigid. Do not force the idea that you think is right. Always listen. Always be ready. And then you take everything that you know, and then you stand for the truth. Always stand for the truth, but always have an open mind. That's how you make the most of every opportunity, every day. Moio, everywhere we go. Open your mind.